So if you're trying to buy a house right now and you are at your wit's end, you are not alone. According to CBC, hundreds of complaints have been made to real estate regulators, and one of the major issues is the blind bidding process, where buyers are not allowed to know the details of competing offers. What do you think of the blind bidding process? Does it need to go?
So I thank God that we are not house hunting right now or in the market right now. But I've certainly, and even before this time that we're in, we fell victim to this 100%.
Whoa.
When we were house hunting the very first time, very first home purchase ever. 7 months pregnant, we're looking for a nest, and we had a shady agent that we found and we hired. And he took us around to all the worst of the worst properties you can imagine. One of them had a powder room that was a kitty litter. And I'm not saying a kitty litter box. They had turned the entire floor into a kitty litter box.
Oh.
The entire powder. This is the quality we were being shown. And then we were taken to a house that wasn't on the market yet, but he wanted us to see it before it went on the market. He knew exactly what our top bar bracket was that we were willing to spend. The house, he told us, was going to be listed under that. We went in full offer for what they were thinking of listing it at, no conditions, etc. He came back to us and said, no, they know they're going to get more, so we're going to have to go to that top bar offer that I know that you have. We did, because again, pregnant, need a nest, and we overpaid. And we found out later he was friends with the seller, and he knew exactly how much money we had. Well, here's the thing. So we talk about how do we keep people honest and all of this. We were some of those people who reported. And we found out later that there were many others that had reported against him. And he is not quite a real estate agent anymore here in Ottawa. So, I mean, it's a tough thing to navigate, but yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, we ended up loving the place in the end, but we know that we certainly overpaid for it. Yeah.
And that's got to be a terrible feeling. And that is the problem with blind bidding. You don't know how far over you're going. We've got a comment from Carrie on Facebook. Took my husband and I over 30 offers to purchase our first home. Oof. Wow. It should absolutely be banned. It's definitely a realtor's market, not a seller's market. I agree, Carrie, on that it should be banned, and I agree that it's a realtor's market, but I think it's also a seller's market right now, because some sellers are making upwards of $400,000, $500,000 over what they thought. Hey, I'm one of these people right now. I bought a house about a week ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm absolutely terrified. I'm a first-time home buyer. I bought outside of the city in which I've lived for 20 years and work. So it's absolutely terrifying. But the blind bidding stuff is top of mind. We bid and lost on about 10 places. But to be honest, the people I think about are the people like you, Angie, who know you overspent. One of the sort of biggest parts of our journey was bidding on sort of a dream place, and we went to our max, and there were only four bidders. But as soon as there's a second bidder, you have the game just changes. You don't know how much over you have to go, because it's the biggest purchase of your life. Yet, you can't make an informed decision about it. You can make a better informed decision if you're buying a pair of shoes on eBay. It's absolutely bonkers. But the bid that outbid us, they were $150,000 over our bid. So I dream about meeting this person and somehow being like wanting them to know. It's a terrible sort of... That's evil of me, but wanting them to know. Do you know, by the way, that you paid $149,000 essentially dollars that you didn't need to spend? It's the only way for this to be controlled, I believe, is for the government to sort of shut it down.
Oh, I love that you said the government, because guess what? I don't know if there's an impetus or a push or motivation to change anything. Because let's not forget, at least if you live in the fine city of Toronto, Ontario, you are paying something called a land transfer tax. Not once, but twice. And so if you buy an average $1 million home, which is what the average price is going for, that's $50,000 divided between the province and the city. And so you get dinged twice, as they say. That's on top of you knowing or not knowing what you're, bidding against. And so if there is so much money being made by the real estate agents, by the seller, by the government, who is on the side of the buyer? I don't have an answer to that, because the buyer is the one at the bottom of the ladder. Oh, wait, that's if you can even afford to put a bid on a house, because how many people can't? I mean, the flip side for a government that they need to consider is home affordability. I was doing some research, and if you're in Toronto, which we know the market is wild right now, it's like you need to have, if you want to just buy a condo that's $600,000 to $700,000, you need a household income of at least $125,000. Oh, and you're saving for at least 4 years to afford a down payment. So that's like $125,000 for a household. That's a lot of money. Who is making that? And so you're literally making a two-tier system for people who are the haves and the have-nots. That's who somebody needs to think about if you're in government and you're looking at this process, which I think needs to be changed.
Well, I mean, let's go to Danielle on Facebook, because I think Danielle has something really interesting to say. Danielle writes to us and says, it's a total scam. I knew I was bidding against myself when we purchased our home. The agent was 100% shady, like Angie's, and was both the seller's agent and our buyer's agent. Having come from Australia with a very transparent buying and selling process with the majority of sales occurring at auction, I was shocked at what agents get away with here and how unregulated the industry is. Which, thank you, Danielle, for sharing that. So sorry that was your experience, but for bringing to our attention what it's like in Australia, because I only learned about this very, very recently. Many homes in Australia are sold according to the auction processes Danielle was talking about, which is, you list a house and then prospective buyers have a few weeks to go and check it out and look around and see if they want it. And then on the day of the sale, the seller's agent gets up in front of the house, essentially, and all the people who are interested in buying surround the house like it's a block party, and it's an auction. Jess will be like, I give $10, and Mel will be like, I raise it to $15, and everybody on the block sees. It's probably not unusual for other people to come, even if they're not going to buy the house, just to watch. I would like to watch this show. Anyway, everything is transparent. It takes about 15 minutes. Whoever gets the house gets the house. Everybody knows what they paid, and people go on about their day. That's what Danielle is talking about, and this needs to happen, I think, here in Canada too.
I totally agree, Lainey. While I've been going through this process of losing so many homes and the overbidding and stuff, I kept thinking to myself, this is like an infomercial, where they say, there's got to be a better way. And I think Australia, you're the infomercial. That's the better way.
It's totally the better way. And I think that, to Mel's point, I think there are few people who win, like perhaps the real estate industry and the government agencies, but everybody else, even the seller, eventually loses. And here's why. Even if you're a seller today and you make this percent over asking, you still have to go out and get another home.
Yeah, it works if you're downsizing, though. No, it does work if you're downsizing and if you're moving.
Sure,
to
but the downsizing population in general, has already been a homeowner. If you're thinking about people our age, a little bit older, and definitely the younger generation, that's not the situation. You are putting yourself back into a situation where you are getting outbid with this blind bid process. And then on top of that, if no one can afford homes here anymore, our places here in Canada, this country, will be like New York City and London, where very few people can afford property. That will be the culture and the character of this country. Do we want that?
It's too late. No, we're already there. That started 10 years ago, the Manhattanization of Toronto and Vancouver, for example.